Okay, that was a great presentation from our keynote, Dr. Sachs. And my presentation is going to focus on mitigating advanced persistent threats, which is called APT, through vulnerability assessment and policy restructure. So as you can see, this looks like a follow-up to her presentation because we cannot run away from these current attacks. Even 3 days ago, our website was attacked, WAAD website. I know Dr. Adeleke was trying to go and make payment, and he couldn't even get in. And I have to be working with them 24/7 to make sure that our system is back. So it's something that we can never run away from. Whether you are computer literate or not, I think this is the time everybody needs to come on board, because you don't need to say that I didn't do computer, I don't know information systems, I don't know technology. Once you are using your cell phone, automatically you become a target. So you need to know exactly how to protect yourself. That will now help to know, to help us that our system, our environment, our job will be fully secured. So today, I will be discussing, our outline is going to talk about the malwares. I know a few people here might know what is malware. I know everybody, is everybody aware of what is malware? Okay, so no, okay, I know some of them are not. So today, for you to go out from this conference, you will be able to explain certain terminologies that are very necessary for somebody who didn't even do computer science. Something that will help you and your family, as well as your work and environment. So I'm going to talk about the APT as well, after the categories of APT, which is advanced persistent threats. Then I will also discuss about developments and anatomy of APT, as well as targets, mitigation strategy, and vulnerability assessments. We need assessment in order to capture things like what Dr. Chanel Sons mentioned. If you do not do regular assessment at your job or in your network, then automatically you don't know when a hacker is right there waiting for you. So we're going to talk about the control measures as well. So here are the types of malware: viruses, worms, spyware, Trojan horse, logic bombs, ransomware, backdoors, rootkits, keyloggers, and APT, which is advanced persistent test. So as you can see, there's a lot of them. These are just minor. I just decided to list only 10. But out of these 10, I picked only one to discuss about today, which is the advanced persistent threats. So looking at this, APT is a broad term used to describe an attack campaign in which an intruder or a hacker or team of intruders or team of groups will establish an illicit long-term presence on the network in order to mine highly sensitive data. So in that case, you will not even know that they are in your system. It's called advanced. They are using advanced technologies to penetrate. And it's called persistent because you will be there for 1 month. You don't even know that somebody's in your network. So how do you know that your system is being attacked? That's why you need to be well informed to make sure that you can be able to dictate if something wrong is happening in your system. Okay? So APT is very, very serious because they might be there for 1 month without you knowing, and whatever you're doing, logging in, password, everything, they are collecting all your information, even from your phone, they can do that. So that's called APT, advanced persistent threat. Now, advanced means full spectrum of computer intrusion technology. So they use those latest technology in order to penetrate your system, not just the regular ones. So they are now deriving more strategic scripts that will help them to penetrate your system. And the persistent means that you will not even know, and you will keep doing your regular job without knowing that your system is under attack. So it structures the series of attacks with a long-term goal, monitoring and interaction. Then the threat is the criminal operators coordinate attacks actions. just like at times they will do some ransomware and they will need some money from you before they can release your system. Or they can do distributed denial of service. That's the DDoS. That one means that they're going to take over your system and you have to pay them before they can release it. So all these have a lot of motives behind it. Now, there's a lot of categories of APT. The network infiltration, the expansion of attackers' presence, and the extraction of amassed data, all without being detected. So the more dangerous one about APT is you will hardly detect them. They will hide in your system. Just like the back door, they will avoid using the authorized process, and they will be able to penetrate your system. So that's why the APT is very, very dangerous and complex. So under the phase 1 of APT, under the infiltration, most organizations are typically infiltrated through the compromising of 1 or 3 attacks. It can be from website, it can be from network resources, it can be from authorized human assets. So when we talk about the human assets, that's you and me. When you use your devices at your work, you can plug in your USB. If your USB is infected, you're automatically transferring into the company network. Your cell phone, if you log into the social network, that's it. You just log in, and somebody will request for friendship, and you get it automatically. They will catch you. And anybody in your network who is your friend will automatically be infected. So as you can see, this is a chain reaction, very, very chain reaction that we all have to be part of to know how can we be able to protect this. You cannot just receive a lot of social media or social engineering invitation. If you do not know the person, then better not accept. At times, when somebody sends me some requests, I have to use my phone to call somebody. Did you do this? Did you send me a request? And they will say no. I say your system has been hacked because I just received a friendship request from somebody because I know that you're already there. Why are you asking me for another request? You get the point? So they use people name, they do impersonation, you can call the masquerading. They can masquerade as if they are somebody else. And you would think that it's your friend. So the best thing for you is to place a call to the person to confirm whether it's the true person or it's a masquerading attack. Okay? Now, it occurs for malicious uploads, such as the Sql injection script. This is when they will use a script in order to inject in your system because there's a lot of vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities in the sense that if your developers did not use certain control in their developing scripts, then these hackers will notice that there's a lot of vulnerabilities. When we talk about vulnerabilities, it's about weaknesses, meaning that your script is not hard enough. You gave them some loophole to penetrate your system. So when they come to look at your system, they will know whether you're doing a lot of checking, whether you're doing a lot checking of systems, who is coming in, whether this is a second authentication. That's why these days it's better to do like multiple authentication in order to protect your system. Under the multiple, at times your bank can send you information and say, do you want to, you can enhance your login in order to have multiple authentication. That means that after your regular password, you need another information to verify. Because if a hacker can get one, it might be hard for them to get the second and the third. So it makes it more harder for them to penetrate. But when you have only one authentication, it becomes vulnerable. Then the second one is the expansion. After the foothold is established, the attacker will move to broaden their presence within the network. So now, they are now trying to expand, meaning just like we have the worms. The worms will be able, once they get in, they will swim and penetrate a lot of other network systems. So this is the expansion we're talking about. This involves moving up an organization hierarchy, compromising staff members with access to the most sensitive data. In doing so, they are able to collect critical business information, including product line information, employee data, and financial records. So as you can see, they get a lot of information once the loophole has been opened. Now, extraction is the phase 3 for the APT. Under the extraction, a stolen information with APT attack is typically stored in a secure location. inside the network being assaulted. So they will save it in your own network without you knowing, and it will be there residing for a long time, right? So that information is already saved, and once enough data has been collected, the attacker will extract it without being detected. So they will keep collecting information in your system. That's the need of doing assessment most of the time. And as well, you need to have all these virus scan, because the virus scan will also help you at times to do some scanning, maybe every week, every month. That will be able to dictate some funny moves in your system. If you do not do virus scan, then at times, it becomes hard for you to dictate when there's a problem. Now, APT development. We have a lot of phases for the APT, which is the Advanced Persistent Threats. So if you can see here, we have the progression and the security measures that we can be able to look at. Okay, this is too small. Then we have the test target detection. We have the cover tracks. We have the deployment. We have the white noise attack, initial infiltration, outbound correction, as well as the expanding the access and broadening the presence, then the white noise and the extra data. So as you can see, there's a lot of phases to this development, and they use it in order to attack our system because they are very, very knowledgeable. All these hackers are people who are very intelligent. If you are not intelligent, you cannot be able to hack a system. So they are more intelligent than even anybody. And for you to be able to beat them, you need to keep up to speed in order to know what the next step they are taking. And for any new application that is coming up, any new app in your system, they know about it, and they will quickly go to the app and review it to know if there's any vulnerability. And if there is, even when you're trying to download those particular apps, you will notice that some ad will be flashing up. So those ads, some of them will have this malware we're talking about. And if you do not disable them and you quickly say, okay, everything will be installed in your system, whether your handheld or your PC, so you're not even left behind. So the earlier we all start paying closer attention to, if we can handle our cell phone, the better, because we don't need special knowledge. Nobody is telling anybody to go and start coding. Rather, what we are talking is about paying attention to your devices, because if you cannot protect your device, you are putting your organization in jeopardy. You are putting your own family in jeopardy because all your information is out there and it's hard to protect. Oh, how come this is going back?
Just go to your resume slides there, the little over to the right.
Yeah.
Resume slides. Up in the upper right corner.
Okay. All right, so now the next one here is the anatomy of APT development. Okay, we talked about this. Okay, so now is anatomy of APT. So let's quickly look at this video. Where is that? Okay.
Welcome to a short tutorial on advanced persistent threat. When you are a successful organization, it means you have valuable information regarding the business and clients. Such organizations are usually targeted by attackers sponsored by foreign government agencies or competitors. Attackers use multiple attack vectors such as internet, email, physical, and deception. The attackers pursue their objective to steal information over an extended period of time. This is known as advanced persistent threat. Here is a real case study of advanced persistent threat, when a Fortune 500 company was targeted by a group of attackers. The attackers targeted a group of employees and understood their role in the organization over a period of months. The attackers sent an email with a spreadsheet as an attachment, which had a malware in it. Some of the employees clicked on the attachment and the malware was activated. What did the malware do? probed and mapped the network to find strategic systems containing target information, found users with high-level administrative privileges and captured their credentials. Used the credentials to access systems with target information. Cost of this attack. The estimated loss for the company was $66 million. Let us learn more about how the attackers will target an organization. They understand the business of the organization and the client profile. They usually target people working in sensitive positions who have access to critical information. The attackers use various tactics like spear phishing. Clicking the links in the message or opening the attachments will infect your system and will steal data without your knowledge. Social engineering. They may befriend you in social media and make you disclose sensitive information. They may make phone calls and pretend to be someone trustworthy and ask for information. They may even try to...
Okay, so as you can see, an example is 66 million just for clicking a link that infected an organization, and they lost almost $66 million. That's a lot of money. This is just an example to show you the impact of this. So meaning that if you're working or if you have your own company, you are the first person to help to protect it. Because despite all the firewalls we have, despite all the great networking people we have, despite all the great coders we have, developers, a simple click by an employee, just that you got an suspicious email, will throw everything out of board. So meaning that you and me are the first point of call, irrespective of the measures we are doing or strategies we're taking to make sure that we are very, very secure. You play the part, and I play the part. So now, APT multiple attack vectors, successful organization, that's who they target because they know they can make a lot of money from them. So if you're doing really good and you're being competitive, you're a target. Sponsored by foreign organization agencies or competitors attack as well, because if some competitors are competing with you, they might want to bring you down so that they will take that opportunity to take over. And remember, when you're being attacked, your clients and customers will also be affected, and that might make them to take some of your customer base. Attackers uses multiple attack vectors, such as the internet email, like you can see in the video, physical, deceptive pursuit, phone call. They can call a phone and say that, oh, they can pretend that they are the tech support. They need your last 4 digits in order to solve a problem, and you give it to them. You think that they tech support when actually they are not the technical support. So most of the time, you get some weird phone calls, you get some weird emails. All of these are sources. You go to the social media and be discussing with somebody, you are a target. Found users with high-level administrative privileges and the use of credentials in order to access systems with target information. Now, the APT and malware, they go hand in hand, and the attackers send an email with a spreadsheet, like Dr. Sachs showed here, and the employees will click on the attachment, and the malware will be activated. Just by simply clicking on it, then it's activated automatically within 10 minutes, or even less than that. The malware will be probed and mapped on the network in order to find a strategic system containing target information. Then they also look at the target-sensitive positions who have access to the critical information. So if you are people who are working in a critical and sensitive information, yours might even be more because you need to pay close attention in order to protect those confidentiality and the privacy within your environment. Then attackers use tactics like spear phishing, you can see in the video, clicking the links and the message and opening the attachments. Do never open an attachment that you do not know who is sending it. That's more critical. Data will be compromised and information theft without users' knowledge. Through social engineering, attackers hide malware in their USB devices, so you can even plug in your USB devices and automatically you can spread that. Now, APT versus other threats, like I mentioned, there's a lot of other threats there, but I just picked only one today. APT is significantly more complex because you hardly dictate them. APT is continuous attack because they will be there for a while, maybe 1 month, 2 months, or whatever, before you can even know that your system is under attack. Once a network is infiltrated, the perpetrator remains in order to be getting more details from you as you log in. And the APT is manually executed, not automated. So they always do it manually. At the same time, they can often aim to infiltrate the entire network because it can spread from one network to another. Now, vulnerability assessment is very, very critical. Like I mentioned, we need to keep making an assessment like people, process, technology. So these are the key factors we need to make sure that we make an assessment on. People are you and me who are always working on those privacy or confidential environments. So we need to keep kind of creating an awareness so that people will know how to manage their environment, how to manage their devices. So people play a major role in trying to mitigate all these issues. The next one is the process. What process do we follow? At times we do cut corners. We do not have to cut corners. We need to follow the process. For instance, giving someone your password to help you to log in, you don't have to do that because maybe you're busy. You say, okay, log in and do something for me. That's a breach of process. The process requires that every employee has to log in with their own user. You don't have to divulge your own information to another party. Then the technology as well, we have to make sure that we are updated. There's a lot of patches you can install. Even in your PC, at times you will see that Microsoft will send you and say that you have some patches to install. Even on your phone, you will get, oh, you need to update your operating system, OS, okay? So do not ignore all those. You need to keep updating because the essence of those patch and update is to make sure that every new vulnerability has been taken care of. Every day, new threats and security vulnerabilities is coming up. So the more you update the patches as you receive them, the safer for you. Because when you do not update, then your system will be hacked very easily. Now, as vulnerability also continues where we have to look at the weak and net configuration. So within the system, our admin will have to do this vulnerability to make sure that our system is up to date all the time, to make sure that we do not have any weak or loophole. When we have this loophole, that's when the hackers will have the opportunity to attack your system. Then the physical security as well, making sure that everything is locked and checked, and we have our firewall in place. Then insufficient firewall and router locks also causes a problem at times when we do not have adequate firewalls to protect the system. Then another vulnerability assessment is lack of security monitoring. We have to make sure that we monitor the system all the time. If you cannot do it yourself, there's a lot of companies out there you can sign up with in order for them to do a daily scanning or monitoring in your system in order to help you keep up to date. Then inadequate authentication between clients. So this is when we talk about we need to have multiple authentication to make sure that you have adequate authorization process before somebody can access the system. Then the next, there's a lot of vulnerability assessment you can do. The next one is flooding or erasing services due to inadequate system resource or buffer overflow, as well as the non-validated input. Non-validated input is for programmers, so if your company is a big one, you make sure that they develop the code so that they can be able to manage the validated inputs, because most of these script issues come from when they can push something that is not required in your system, and if your system cannot handle it, then either it can crash or it can be vulnerable to them. So the more you have validated inputs, the better, meaning that if somebody puts an information that is not good, it should be rejected. The system should be able to know that this is an invalid situation. We do not accept something like that. When you accept it, then it becomes more problematic to the system. Then lack of...
Part 6 of the vulnerability assessment, we will be looking into the lack of intrusion.
Okay. Now, manipulation to access information as well as the mobile malware, like I talked before, and the crimeware, as well as the search engine. So all these are various areas that we can do mitigation. Now, under these, we have control measures. Under control measures, it helps us to know when to reject, accept, and mitigate. Reject is when you see that something is really critical. Then you have to reject it. You do not want to take the risk. Accept is when you can be able to manage and have some proactive measures. Proactive is when you have something in place to make sure that these threats will be minimized. But when you don't have anything, it makes it to be more vulnerable. Mitigation is when something happens, then we should now be able to try to eliminate the impacts on our system. Now, how to mitigate APT? You have to use multiple approach on the part of network administrators, traffic monitoring of the ingress and egress traffic as a best practice, so we have to keep using that. Then we have to do the domain whitelisting. We have to do application that can be installed by all users. We can be able to use a useful method of reducing the success rate for all these attacks. Then another one is the access control, how we can be able to manage the privileges and the access, who has access to what. For example, in your organization, if you're not a HR, you will not have access to the employees' payroll. Then if you're not a marketer, you will not have access to the marketing platform. So all those things will be able to do segregation of duty in order to eliminate the access to our system most of the time. Then using multi-factor authentication is a good way. For example, everybody here, I expect you to have a two-factor authentication in login access to your bank. If you're just one authentication, you are prone to be attacked. So it's better you go to your banking information and log in there. Every bank has it now. Then you'll be able to put two authentication, meaning that you want another question for you to access your account. So that if somebody else has a password, that person might not have the second password. Okay? So it's called the two-factor or the multi-factor authentication. Then do not click on any suspicious links. So this is very, very critical. At least if you didn't get anything from this conference, make sure that you start now to scrutinize the email you get, the links you get, and you be very careful in clicking on them, because just clicking on a link can cost thousands of dollars. Now, do not click on any suspicious links. Do not insert any USB to business computers. So before you do that, make sure you have already done a virus scan to make sure that the device is okay. Do not try to connect to business computers from personal devices via the Bluetooth. Bluetooth is another way also, because people can easily connect to your Bluetooth or another Bluetooth. So that's another vulnerability out there we have to pay closer attention to. Because at times, all this technology is very good, it's perfect, but the more we have it, the more threats we get. Because nothing is so easy. As we are enjoying the technology, the hackers are there enjoying the weaknesses that comes with those technology. So in conclusion, here, cybersecurity involves people, process, technology. So that's you, the process we follow, and the technology that we have with us, our device, our USB, our company network, our resources. Then no organization could operate without some element of risk. We cannot run away from it. Even if you decide you don't want to have a phone, maybe your son or your daughter or somebody else have it. So you cannot run away from it. No organization could operate without some element of risk. So there's always element of risk in our life, as well as in our work environment. Organizations should identify and implement effective risk control measures. So that's making sure that we have certain control measures in place to be ready for this. Because when you do not know something, you will say you are being kept unaware. But in this case, we know that something is happening. We know that there's threat there. We know that there's vulnerabilities there. We know that attackers are there. Then what do? We have to be ready for it. Everybody has to be cautious. If you are leaving your system, make sure you do Control-Alt-Delete in order to lock your system. You might just say, okay, I'm going to the restroom. By the time you come back, somebody already logged into your system and have done something bad, or the person can even download stuff from your system before you come back. So ordinary health check is very, very necessary. Developing effective controls requires a comprehensive review of everyone's in the organization as well. So the closing thought is participating in a national cybersecurity awareness program is free, online. You can always create an account there and see what's going on so that everyone, we can move along and get prepared. Then commitment to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself because when you are protecting yourself, you're automatically protecting the entire community, the entire nation. Now, visit the National Cybersecurity Alliance at staySafeOnline.org. If you have not gone to this website, make sure you go there. There's a lot of information that will help you to be prepared in this technology age so that you don't need any education, you don't need too much certification, but the regular information, the awareness program to protect yourself, your family, and your organization is the priority. And question time.